Hi, my name is Michael Desiderio. I have the privilege of being one of the leaders of the Men of Magdalene. I've been a parishioner at St. Mary Magdalene for over 10 years. My wife, Stephanie, of 35 years, and my 15-year-old son, Michael Jr., and I, we all serve together. You've probably seen us at the fourth Mass pretty regularly. We usher, we lector, we EM, and my son even runs the soundboard most fourth Masses. On January 9th, men will simply gather to share refreshments, meet one another, and talk openly about the gap many of us feel for authentic male connection within parish life. There will be space to hear the heart behind Men of Magdalene, to discuss how this ministry can grow organically through the men in the room, and to share some upcoming ideas for future activities and engagement. This is a start of a conversation. The hope is that every man leaves not just informed, but energized, seeing how Men of Magdalene can become a place of brotherhood, faith, and fun that enriches their own lives while helping St. Mary Magdalene Parish flourish as a stronger, more connected community. Be sure to join us 6 p.m. on Friday, January 9th at the church, and be part of this inaugural evening. The Men of Magdalene exist to build a genuine brotherhood of men rooted in faith, family, and fellowship. Our goal is not to create another program or committee, but a community, one where men can grow closer to Christ while strengthening their relationships with their wives, their children, and one another. We believe men are formed best not through lectures alone, but through shared experience, real conversations, meaningful friendships, and moments that challenge, encourage, and even inspire. Men of Magdalene is intentionally parish anchored, welcoming men at every stage of faith, from those just beginning their journey to those seeking deeper spiritual growth, while keeping the focus on connection, adventure, and living faith in everyday life. As this brotherhood grows, it will naturally strengthen the wider community of St. Mary Magdalene by forming men who are more present, engaged, and grounded in their faith. Our launch evening is designed to reflect that spirit from the very beginning.
My name is Des Losberg with the Men of Magdalene. You might have heard and seen me behind the scenes, but I'm really excited for today because we're recording our first podcast episode with one of our founders, Nick Destrini from St. Mary Magdalene. And we're here to share with you one of our three pillars. And our three pillars is faith, family, and fellowship. So today's focus is faith. And that's what Nick's going to be presenting to you today. So Nick, welcome. And why don't you tell everyone who you are, how you're a part of St. Mary Magdalene, and what brought you here?
Thank you, Des. Hello, Men of Magdalene. My name is Nick Destrini, lifelong Catholic. Started off when I was 18, 19 and doing youth ministry. Throughout that time, got married, had some kids. We moved to St. Mary Magdalene in 2014. I've been a firefighter for 20 years. One of the reasons I was drawn to this ministry and to start this ministry with Des and three other gentlemen was I just really noticed a lack of connection. I would see all these people at church and they were holy people, right? They were going to church every Sunday, but we didn't have conversations. We didn't have time together to really share our lives. And I knew that I was going through struggles in my life. And if I was going through struggles, I knew others were going through it too. And I wanted to have an avenue that we could share faith together and start to walk in our faith, because that's what men do. And as a firefighter, that's how we encourage each other. We share our stories. We lift each other up. We challenge each other. And from that, strength is, and we change and we grow. And so that's what really drew me to have the courage to get up and present with what I'm going to talk to you guys about today, which is Exodus 90, which is a small little piece of what we're going to be doing with the Men of Magdalene.
Yeah, awesome, Nick. Let me reflect back to you how I got involved with the Men of Magdalene and how this evolved. So you came forward with Joe and basically brought Exodus 90 to the parish. And I actually wasn't there to see you guys speak, but my brother, Michael Desiderio, felt called to join Exodus 90 and he voluntold me to be a part of it. And so I remember meeting everyone for the first time. We broke off into groups. And so that's what started this whole thing. Exodus 90, we did the St. Michael's Lent together. I think that was a 90-day run approximately. And that basically ended. And then Joe reached out and said, hey, we have something big here. There needs to be that connection like you talked about. And we need to continue this. What does that look like? And so we chatted a little bit, and that's how the Men of Magdalene formed. It wasn't quite, hey, Exodus 90 serves a certain purpose. And we'll talk about that in a second. But it was like, how can we include more men, wherever they are and however they are, and they can come as they are, whether they're just dipping their toe in and starting out in their faith, whether they're curious, or whether they're all out and want to be a part of something big. Why don't you share with you what impact did Exodus 90 specifically have for you? And we'll talk about how that's woven into Men of Magdalene, but what called you to Exodus 90 and what kind of impact has it had on you?
As you have a good friend in faith with Michael, I have a great friend in faith with Joe. And we tried to build a ministry within our fire department, asking other Christians to join different challenges, different things. And so we were doing apps, Hallow, and prayer challenges, doing a catechism at the church. But then this Exodus 90 thing came about. And Joe, who is Mr. Enthusiasm, as you guys will encounter, he was like, hey, I think we need to do this Exodus 90 thing. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. So without really knowing much about it, I just said yes to it. And that's how Exodus will get you. There is an invite, it'll be thrown out, and you can look into it and say either yes or no. What I found with Exodus 90 was it was exactly what I needed. It was structure, it was challenging, it was engaging, but it also offered grace. It wasn't if I failed that I couldn't keep going, or that I wasn't seen in the eyes of the Lord, or that I wasn't on the right path to having a better faith or a better relationship with Jesus. And so that's what I really loved about it. And every day it was a challenge to wake up and get to work and to start to build and start to change. And from that change, and I have to tell you, one of the biggest disciplines from Exodus that they teach you is prayer, right? And most of us men don't know how to pray, right? We show up to church. We know a few rehearsed prayers like Hail Marys or Our Fathers or the Rosary, but this every day challenges you to sit in silence. Now, that silence word is not comfortable for most of us men, and it wasn't comfortable for me either. But I learned in that silence, that's where Jesus really spoke to me. It was the prayer that really spoke to me. And that's really where I started to hear Jesus's voice. And he started to guide me. And honestly, I can't stop hearing him now. And I yearn for that silence and that prayer time. And I yearn for that time where I'm challenged to just be with him and just spend time with him. So that's what Exodus really taught me. There are tremendous spiritual leaders on there that every day they're giving you great reflections and inviting you into a deeper understanding of the Bible, of the catechism, of our church. And yeah, it's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and I want to echo that. I was a part of St. Michael's Lent, and I did enter into those disciplines, and I was challenged, and I was connecting with men. I deepened my friendship with Michael, and yeah, it was amazing. It was a great experience. And I do want to clarify one thing is the Men of Magdalene is an umbrella, so to speak, where we want to include as many men as possible. And the fact of the matter is a lot of men may not align with having checklists or accountability, and that's okay. We're not saying that this is a must for anyone who's interested in the Men of Magdalene. It's just one piece of it. So my question to you would be, for the men who are absolutely not, I'm just going to see and just connect, make friends, just see what this is about. And then we have the other side of the spectrum, which is men who are all out. They love what Exodus 90 brings. They love the discipline. They need maybe those anchors and accountability. And then you have the men in between, like they don't know if they're on this side of the spectrum or the other. If you have a man within the Men of Magdalene who's considering it, what would you say? What would be their next step? What would be one thing that they could take away from this interview moving forward? Is it a requirement for the Men of Magdalene, or is it something that they can take a small step forward with?
Yeah, it's definitely not a requirement. Like I said, I had been doing a lot of practices prior to Exodus starting. So I was on the Hallow app for quite a long time, and that was teaching me how to pray, and I was listening to spiritual leaders. And that's a great start. There's also a lot of other great faith apps out there that will give you the daily reflection. Simply reading scripture that we read in the church every single day, that's a great start. And all of that stuff is free. So, you absolutely don't have to do Exodus, but it is a challenge, right? And if you are invited to it, you have the choice, as we always do, to say yes or no. And your no is just as important as your yes, right? Saying no to it is, I'm not ready for that. Absolutely. That's okay. And there's no shame in that at all. It's one of the beautiful things I love about our Lord is he meets us where we're at, right? And he never looks at us with shame. He never looks at us disappointed. He loves us and he wants to meet us wherever we're at. And I just love him for that. And I am grateful that he has given me this challenge because he knows I need it. That's where the growth truly happens.
Yeah. No, that's so good, Nick. And I want to make it very clear. I was impacted tremendously from Exodus 90. I connected with you. I connected with Joe. I deepened my faith. So I 1000% endorse Exodus 90. And I also want to say that if that's not quite calling to you, or if that's not what is bringing you closer to the Men of Magdalene, that's okay. We still want you. That is just an option of the many different things. And as the survey has shown, men are looking for different things and who knows what that is. So I want to make it very clear that we will welcome you as you are, where you are on your journey. And this is one piece of it. And the timing is perfect. So Nick, I want to thank you very much for bringing this forth because all of this is because of Exodus 90 initially. You and Joe connecting, bringing it to the parish, bringing that energy and the Lord speaking through you. And then now here we are and we're building something incredible. Yeah. So Nick, from the bottom of my heart, I'm looking forward to building on our friendship and seeing where the Men of Magdalene takes us. And for those men who are out there, I am excited if you do want to take that spiritual journey with that Exodus 90. Nick, real quick, before we finish up, when does it start? What do they have to do specifically? What is the next step for men who do want to take that step?
Sure. So I'm sure you'll put a QR code on this with your newsletter and you can check it out. And if it's not for you, no harm, no foul. And that's really it. All it is just saying, I'll check it out and go forth from there. But Des, I do want to go back to your point. It has been wonderful meeting. I never knew where this journey would lead us, and meeting guys like yourself, Michael, and all the others that came forward. It's been a wonderful journey. And I'm so excited for the 50 that have signed up for Men of Magdalene. I'm
59, Nick.
59. Holy cow. I'm excited to walk with each and every one of them. So that's what really brings me the most joy. So
absolutely. Thank you, Nick. January 9th is our official launch gathering. Again, this is just one of the pillars. If you want to deepen your spiritual faith, it's not required. You do not have to participate in this. But if you do, scan that QR code. We'll help guide you. You'll connect with Nick and Joe, and you'll be on that path. For our first episode, Nick, this was awesome. Thank you so much. I look forward to deeper conversations and seeing where this takes us.
Me too, Des. Thank you.